All right, turn this baby on. Hey guys, Irene here. Do you like my new filming space? Let me know in the comments down below. And today I'm gonna be reviewing this weird lens. This is a Lensbaby Composer Pro with Edge 50 Optik. That's a mouthful. I don't normally do gear reviews on my YouTube channel. I'm not a very technical person, so this review is purely based on my personal experience with this lens, and this is not a sponsored video in any way. The reason I actually found out about Lensbaby and this particular lens was because of my freelancing video. I discovered a freelancing technique maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and I was really obsessed with it. I actually even made a YouTube video about it. I will leave it in the description down below if you guys would like to check it out. Freelancing is a technique where you would detach the lens from your camera body and you would hover it over the sensor, kind of wiggling it around, and it will create a similar effect to a tilt shift lens. What you do is you're essentially breaking the focus line, and you're gonna get an effect where part of an image is gonna be really out of focus while the other part is gonna be really sharp. There's a lot of negatives to freelancing. It's really hard to master, it's quite inconvenient, and you're opening your sensor and you're kind of surrendering it to dust, scratches, smudges, and it can potentially harm your camera or even break it. So this lens replicates that tilt shift or freelancing effect, but you do not have to worry about detaching your lens from the camera body and thus potentially damaging your camera. Not to mention its fair price, it's around $400, and some of the tilt shift lenses can vary from $1,000 to around $3,000. So let's see what the Lensbaby says about this particular lens on their website. By the way, I really like the whole Lensbaby philosophy. They say photographers spend years shooting for perfect, flawless, precise, pristine, and Lensbaby, we see things differently. We think perfect is boring. We seek surprise, to have our eyes open, to dance and play and lose ourselves in moments. When you do that, you'll change how you see everything. I really like that because I've always liked just getting out of the box, doing things a little bit differently, and truly be creative, and I feel like Lensbaby really captures that. Now this is what they say about the lens. Bring powerful details into focus. The Composer Pro 2 with Edge 50 Optik creates a slice of tack-sharp detail through objects in both foreground and background, encased by a smooth blur. Tilt and move the lens for fluid, on-the-fly inspiration. Reveal remarkable dimension and depth for everything from landscapes to smallest details. So the way that this lens works is that you're gonna kind of just wiggle it around right here, just back and forth, up and down. You can kind of wiggle all around in a 360 manner like this as well. And it's gonna kind of break the focus line and create all sorts of really cool effects. So let's quickly go through the pros and cons of this lens, and then I'm gonna show you guys some of the footage and the pictures. Some of the negatives are that the lens is completely manual. I absolutely hate shooting manual. I'm an autofocus shooter, so it can definitely be something to get used to. What I usually do is I'll put it in live mode, I'll zoom in right on the model's eyes, focus, and then take a shot, which can definitely be challenging and takes a lot longer than using your regular autofocus. Another negative for me personally is the aperture. It goes only to 3.2, and it can definitely be challenging while shooting low light situations. You might gonna have to increase your ISO, which I personally don't really like doing. It also has pretty limited aperture options. You can go to 3.2, 4, 5.6, 8, 11, 16, and 22. Another thing that I don't really like is how stiff the lens is. To change that look, to change that focus and the tilt, you're gonna have to kind of move this around, and it is quite hard to do, especially when you're holding your camera with one hand and you're doing this with your left hand. I find it challenging, especially when I do video. I wish it was just a little bit easier to move. Maybe if I wiggle it enough, I'm gonna loosen it up. I hope so. But yeah, it's definitely one of the complaints from me. I guess this is true for a lot of manual lenses. It's hard to focus and it's hard to get a very tack sharp focus, especially with getting a lot of that tilt shift blurry effect going around. Sometimes it's really hard to get the model sharp. But again, if you like experimenting and like that not so very perfect look, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Now let's go over the pros. First of all, the price point I think is really fair compared to a lot of other lenses that do similar effects. I think this one is a great investment. You're gonna get a lot of looks from this one lens. You can really go ahead and experiment here. Each picture is gonna be different from your previous one. I think it's built really nice, although it's not too heavy, it actually feels quite substantial. So I think this is gonna last me for quite a long time. This will give you some really cool bokeh, and as a self-proclaimed bokeh whore, let me tell you, I really appreciate it. I find that it definitely gives you the best bokeh and the best result when you shoot wide open at 3.2, and that's what I've been doing for like all of my shots. Now again, going back to doing some freelancing, if you're really into it, getting a lens like this will prevent your camera from breaking and getting dust in, and you can freelance and be safe. And finally, I think this is absolutely amazing for video. I would 100% recommend any of the videographers to check Lensbaby and check out this particular lens. If I was to ever videotape weddings, I would definitely bring this lens. I think it creates that perfect dreamy romantic look, and it just brings an element of something a lot more interesting and cool to the video. I've shot a lot of my video intros with this lens. I'm gonna play them right now so you guys can check them out. Again, as I noticed, it can definitely be a little bit challenging moving this around while you're filming, but the more you use it, the more comfortable you're gonna get with this lens. It's also pretty light, and it will definitely be awesome on a gimbal if you are shooting video. Again, I'm not a videographer, but from just using it for some of my own videos, I can definitely tell that I really enjoy it for video, actually probably more than I do enjoy it for pictures. Alright, so this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any other questions about this lens, make sure to ask them in the comments down below and I'll try to answer all of them. Also, for my next video, quick announcement. I know that you guys have been enjoying my I added your pictures videos. This time I want you to edit my picture. So I will leave a link in the description of this video to my raw unedited image and I want you guys to edit it for me. I will pick my favorites and review them in my next video, so go ahead and check that out, participate, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video.